Hey everybody, it's Rich Brooks of Flyte New Media again, and we're again talking about Twitter. I've done a few videos on Twitter so far. The first one was on how to set up and configure your Twitter account. The second one was on how to find and follow people on Twitter. And the third one was on how to get other people to follow you. And if you're using Twitter for business, if you're an entrepreneur or small business, chances are you want a big group of followers because that's the way that you increase your sphere of influence. Well, today we're going to be talking a little bit about how to engage people one-on-one and maybe deepen some of those relationships that you've started on Twitter. We're going to do that in a few different ways. First off, a few basics. This is my home page on Twitter. The people who appear here are people who I've chosen to follow, and their tweets appear here whenever they put a new tweet up. There's also something called the public timeline, which you can see under the everyone tag. And this is basically everybody in the world who's using Twitter, whether they speak English or not, and their tweets go into the public timeline. Everybody's tweets go into the public timeline unless they've chosen to protect their tweets. So let's get back to my homepage on Twitter. And these are people who I'm following. Now, one of the things you might notice is here's first the name of the person who put the tweet up, but on a number of these, there's the @ symbol and then somebody else's handle. That happens a few times down here as well. What that is that's a reply. So in this case, Monica Wright is replying to Utah SEO Pro. And the reason why you might want to do that is maybe somebody put up a post or a tweet that you want to respond to. And this is kind of a way of getting their attention when you are talking back to them. If you have been replied to, it will actually appear in your replies tab on Twitter. So once you click on that link, you can go through and see all the people who have replied to you. And these are some of the people who have recently replied to a tweet I had, or maybe just mentioned me in a tweet they had, whether or not they were replying to me or not. The nice thing about the @ symbol using the replies is that you don't need to be following that person, nor do they need to be following you. You can @ anybody you like. Now, the problem sometimes with the reply is that sometimes you post something, somebody responds to you, you respond to them, and then you start having this ongoing conversation, except that people can only see either your post or their post unless they're following both people, and that can be kind of distracting to your followers to only get half of the conversation. One thing you might want to do in writing your replies is write them in such a way that even if somebody hadn't seen the first tweet, they'd know what you were talking about. The other thing you might want to do is use the direct messages tab. And basically what direct messages is it sends the message to the person you want to and doesn't include it in the timeline. There's a couple of different ways we can do that. For example, let's say that we wanted to send Dan Freeman a direct message. So we could just type in D space Dan Freeman, don't need the @ symbol now, and then we can go ahead and type in our message. Now you may notice that by doing that, I've already used up 13 of my 140 characters. There is a way of sending a direct message that doesn't use up any of your characters. That's by going directly into direct messages, waiting until the page comes up, and then choosing from your list of people who you want to send a direct message to, and then you can start typing, and as you see up here, there's still 140 characters that I have left. Now, the downside of direct messages is that you can only send them to people who are following you. So if somebody's not following you, you will not be able to send them a direct message. Another way in which you can engage people is by retweeting what they've already said. So if there's a post that you particularly like, you can retweet it. Very often all you need to do is you can select the text, copy it, put in the letters RT, I usually add the @ sign so they know I've retweeted them, and paste that in. Now, that's fine if you're using Twitter as your main interface for using Twitter, twitter.com that is, but you can also, if you're using a tool, a third-party application to interact with Twitter, TweetDeck is my personal favorite, then what you can do is, a lot of times there's a feature where if I wanted to retweet what Pistachio had said, I could just click on that link and it immediately adds in the RT and then the @ sign and basically whatever Pistachio has said. And I can also, if there's enough characters, maybe even add my own 2 cents as well. And that's how you engage people on Twitter. So just to recap, there's a number of different ways in which you can engage people one-on-one on Twitter. One is the @ symbol or the reply, and what you want to do there is just put the @ symbol before somebody's Twitter handle, and that's a very public way of having a conversation with somebody. If you want to take something off the public timeline and have a one-on-one conversation with somebody discreetly, you can direct message them. That, of course, assumes that they are following you already. And you can also retweet somebody, which is a great way of giving credit where credit is due. Until next time, this is The Rich Brooks. You can follow me at Twitter at twitter.com/therichrooks, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.